is an Unspoiled Network podcast.
This is Unspoiled, covering the Harry Potter recap, number 5. And this chapter? I was going to say chapter. There's no chapter here. In this episode, Roshawn and I discuss Ilvermorny School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. Welcome to Unspoiled. Welcome to the show, everybody. How are all of you delightful people? Are you good? I hope you're great. My name's Natasha.
I'm Roshawn.
This Ilvermorny School is, I'm not sure how many people listening have read the, I want to use the word synopsis, but it's like way too long to be synopsis. So how many of you have read the essay explaining its origins and how the school works and where it is in the U.S.? Or it's not in the United States, it's in America. Technically in Canada. And I'm guessing if you listen to this podcast, you've probably read it because you're enough of a, Potterhead. So, Roshawn, what did you think of this?
I really like this one.
Yeah?
Yeah, I liked it a lot. Mm-hmm.
Can you expand
Elaborate?
on that?
I don't know. You're talking about I don't know. It wasn't very long. It was longer than most of the things that we've read so far. But, it's not, like anything coming close to like the books. But,
right, yeah, definitely not.
But it was a really full story. And I thought it was really well done. I liked that the woman whose name I cannot think of. Why can't I think of her name?
Oh,
her nickname is Morgan, but her real name was
Isolt.
Thank you. Oh, that's why I couldn't think of it, because I've never heard it before.
Yeah, this is a weird name. I'm not sure if I'm saying it right, to be honest. But
I liked that she was tied into the story we already know, that she's a descendant of Slytherin. Mm-hmm. And that she was raised by an evil gaunt, which that's the only kind of gaunts we know.
I know. How about that, right?
Right. And I just didn't have at no point reading it did I feel like, oh, well, that doesn't make any sense, or that's unreasonable.
Right.
Or that feels cheap. Like, it just flowed really nicely. And I like the idea of how it took some elements that we're used to from Hogwarts. Mm-hmm. And she explains it really well, too, where she says that even though Isolt didn't get to go to Hogwarts, she had gotten a lot of information from her aunt. And even though her aunt was giving it to her in a disparaging way, she just kind of took it and decided to think of it as a good thing. So everything her aunt said that was terrible about the school, she didn't let that influence her, how she felt about Hogwarts. And
it feels like her aunt was trying to say things in this way that was dismissive, but she didn't realize that to this girl it's going to sound amazing. So it's like somebody who's a health nut talking to their kid, and they're going to be like, oh, it's terrible. They make you eat ice cream all the time, and they don't ever go outside. They just play video games, and somebody else is like, there's a downside to this?
Yeah, pretty much. So, and then it's kind of a slow. She doesn't rush to get to the story of how the school comes to be. Mm-hmm. She kind of takes her time in the confines of a relatively short story. She takes her time getting to how the school comes, and I just thought it was really well done, and it was enough that would make me interested to know more about it.
Yeah, I think that's really kind of what I was a little bit the whole idea of there being a school in America is simultaneously something that you're well, obviously I totally want this to be true, but also you're is this going to be weird and like corny?
Yeah, like I want it to be true, but do I need it to be true?
Right. And when she first revealed that like the word for people who are muggles in the US is no-maj.
Yeah, I don't like it.
No. Like, and I mean, when you really stop and think about it, muggle is a dumbass word. It is very stupid. There's not really a great reason why no-maj is worse, just that it's new, I think, is really what it is. We had time to get used to the one, and that's what it is.
Yeah. There's no real reason to dislike it. I'm sure people explain the dislike with like, oh, it's no imagination, it's too basic, it's too obvious.
No-maj.
Yeah, right.
Everybody hates me, I'm sorry.
None of those are really valid, criticisms, I don't think, when you take into consideration that we all have accepted the word muggle, to your points. But yeah, I don't care for it, and in my mind, every time I see it, I just think muggle.
Yeah.
And I probably will continue to use it, even as we get more and more into this story of the American school. I doubt that I will make use of the term no-maj.
Yeah, I think same. It's something that, came up in the movie a little bit, and I feel like they introduced the word and then they kind of felt the way that we did, where they just didn't use it often. It's probably a combination of things. Like, on the one hand, we're not going to use it because people aren't used to it, and so it might confuse our audience, but also, like, we just don't like it. So we'll, also just say that as an excuse. So, thumbs up. I'm fine with it. Do what you need to do. But yeah, there are a few things that I found really amusing about this. So yeah, the gaunt aunt that rescues her is terrible. I had forgotten that, because I read this when it first came out and then like totally forgot a bunch of it. I had forgotten that the wand she steals was Salazar Slytherin's wand, which is a pretty big fucking deal. Yeah. I just totally like put that out of my head somehow.
Yeah. And I guess it would explain how she was able to do such impressive magic with the limited schooling that she had.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I mean, granted, it's presented to us that she's a pretty talented witch, but I'm sure that wand, helped a lot.
Yeah.
I like the introduction of the Pukwudgie,
yeah.
I kept thinking there's this thing that can happen when you are familiar with a story and then a new story is introduced where you're trying to draw parallels. Oh, this is the this of this world. This is the that of this world.
Yeah, definitely.
I remember when I first saw The Force Awakens, there was a part of me that was doing that with the characters, right?
For sure.
Who's going to be the Luke in this? Oh, that must be, doing that thing. So when this Pukwudgie is introduced, of course, the first thing I think of is like Creature.
Yeah.
A very kind of grumpy, reluctant servant.
I miss Creature so much.
And I don't want to imply that that's what she's doing here, but that's kind of what I did when I was reading it.
I felt it's funny you say that, because Creature didn't occur to me. I was thinking of the goblins, but
that's probably a better comparison. But I think because of the time that they spent together, that he was indebted to her in servitude, is what made me think of Creature more than the goblin. But
yeah, I think that because you're comparing it to a specific character, which I wasn't doing. I was just trying to think of like overall this type of creature, what would it have been? But personality-wise, if you're going to go like specific, then definitely Creature. Yeah. And she names him William.
There's also that little tidbit too, and it doesn't get expanded on, and maybe it comes up later, but he doesn't tell her his name because of a type of culture or species or whatever type of taboo, which I thought was really interesting, because I feel like I just encountered that somewhere else. I cannot remember where, but has that come up in this world any other time?
I'm like wondering if there was something in the Native American article that we read that was like rebutting against her skinwalker thing that maybe said something like that, but I don't know for sure.
I'm thinking of something very specific to magic, and it might have been that, but I don't think so. Where, it's fucking Dresden.
Who doesn't...
Remember the one he calls Clancy or whatever?
Oh, yeah, he won't give him his full name, like it's a payment to give him one of his names. Gotcha.
No. Dresden, he wants a payment from Dresden of the names. But whatever that demon was, Dresden doesn't know its name.
I thought he does because that's how he summons him. Chonzagaroth. And he calls him Chauncey.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Maybe I was thinking of it trying to get Dresden's name then.
There is something like in the previous book where the guy who summons the demon to attack Dresden uses the name of the demon in front of Dresden, and Dresden's like, "Are you fucking idiot? Thanks. Now I have his name, and now I can do whatever."
Maybe that's what I'm thinking of then. But something along the lines of, I think it's a mixture of all of those, actually, that was in my mind about the idea of giving something your real name and giving it power over you.
Okay.
Even though she doesn't say in this story that that's what happens, just that there's a taboo about William giving his real name.
Yeah, and I love that, like, at the end of the story, it's kind of unclear whether or not he's still alive. Because,
oh, yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, he's just like, what? That would make me 300 years old. And everybody's like, yeah, we don't know how long y'all live, though.
And he's like, doesn't feel the need to give an answer. Like, oh, well, no, we only live 100 years. He's like, oh, no, you don't, do you? You don't know how long we live. How about that? Meanwhile.
And there are a couple interesting things. So I sent you this link to this, and I sent you a link to the Sorting Hat. And, you know, what JK wrote about her planning out the Sorting Hat and figuring out how exactly she wanted this to work. And I always like making these connections because she describes the original thought that she had for the Sorting Hat, which was to have a statue of each of the founders of Hogwarts choose the students, like the statues come alive, which is what she winds up doing for this.
Yeah,
in a way.
yeah.
And I always just like to hear a little bit about a writer's process and how they like rule things out, or, you know, the way that it starts out as this idea and it sort of evolves into something similar. Because then she thinks, well, they could pull their names out of a hat. They could use a hat, the Sorting Hat.
Yeah.
You know?
I like that part too. The watching, getting the explanation for how she got to that idea and thinking of, well, what are the ways that people use to choose, right? And you can pull straws, you can take names out of a hat, and so on. And sometimes that's how the connections work when a person is trying to come up with an idea like that.
Oh, yeah.
So it was kind of fun to see that mapped out.
Yeah, and it was a little bit of new information for me because I didn't realize that the Sorting Hat was supposed to contain like all of the intelligence of all 4 founders, which is what she describes in the little section there.
Yeah, I like that she says too that it's probably some of the best, or at least the most clever bit of magic that any of the wizards or witches would really ever come into contact with. Like, that's how special the Sorting Hat is. Because we kind of take it for granted, you know. Oh, it's just this thing that pops out at the beginning of the year. That's it. No big deal.
Yeah, and it's like, once she has the world set up a little bit more, you retroactively can be like, wait, how does that work? Because she establishes rules later on that hat does not seem to follow. So I kind of appreciate that she like acknowledges that. And it's like, yeah, this is pretty unusual. Yeah,
I like too that she also tells us that even though the Sorting Hat is rarely wrong, it is also loath to admit it makes mistakes. Yep. Like, when it does make mistakes, it very rarely, if ever, admits that a mistake was made. And I think we talked a little bit about, when we were actually reading the books, about the idea of being sorted to the wrong house. But I don't know if we ever got any examples in the books. But here she gave us a couple of examples of what it would be like if someone got sorted. Right. You know, she says, if there was a Gryffindor who had displayed cowardice, or a Hufflepuff who was gifted academically but lazy, or a Ravenclaw who fails all of his exams.
I love that. Those are just weird little things. I would love to hear about those actual situations if she would expand on that, because that'd be kind of hilarious.
Same.
So there are a couple of new magical creatures on this continent, and later on, when they establish the school, the boys that Isolde adopted she's asking them to come up with ideas on how the school would work, and they had heard about Hogwarts, and so they have it in their head to have 4 schools the same way that Hogwarts does, 4 houses. And so they name them after the different magical creatures. So there is a what do you call it? Puckwudgie. There is a Wampus, horned serpent, and what is the last one?
A Thunderbird.
Which I don't think she sees one of those in this story.
No, but it's described. Like the characteristics of her are described. So I just assumed that because one of the boys picks that one, I just assumed that it's something that they had encountered. You know what else too? I like that because Isolde spends quite a bit of time sort of as alone, just her and William. But she's alone at first. After her, she escapes the aunt, comes to the new world and makes her way out into the wilderness. And I guess maybe I could have been like, oh, she's just out in the woods and on a new continent and she's totally okay. But, it's clear that because of her magic, she is able to be okay. And then the way she meets the boys is pretty terrible.
Yeah, that one is rough. This hide behind is another example of kind of an I'm talking about JK old-fashioned naming.
Yeah.
It's the only one that's named this way.
When I read it, as I was reading it, in my head, I made it way worse. I was like, I hid it behind? What? I hid it what? And then I looked at it and I was like, this shit says hide behind. But I didn't get it until I read the description of what it does. And then I was like, get the fuck out of here with this bullshit.
Oh, that is so funny. That's like when I was reading Song of Ice and Fire with Brendan and we pronounced it damn fair. But it's damp hair. It's just one word. So the PH they don't make an F sound, but we totally thought that it did forever. Yeah, my bad.
So
embarrassing.
So the hide behind that she saved William from is the same one that ends up attacking the boy's parents. And I like too that there's a little insight into William, because after they stop the attack and they actually kill it this time, because they didn't the first time, he's like, okay, we're done here, let's go home. And she's like, no, we gotta bring the kids. And he's all surly about it. Oh my
God, I loved that
so
detail.
She ends up bargaining and is like, okay, if you do this, then your debt's repaid and you can you can get the fuck on. So she sacrifices what's basically at this point her only companion.
Yeah.
Not knowing if these kids are even going to survive.
Yeah, and she's not even sure if they will. So she might still wind up being alone.
Yeah, I think that tells us a lot about her too. But the boys are okay. She nurses them back to health, and then a man appears.
Oh my God, this dude! I know that they're trying to be like, oh, they're in love, but later on, when they're like the robes of the school were blue and cranberry because she loved the color blue and dreamed of being in Ravenclaw, and because he liked cranberry pie. And I'm like, this guy sounds super boring. Like there couldn't be a better reason for that.
It's so funny because I like that. It's almost like you want to think, oh, he's super basic, But then, like, when they're naming the houses, and he's the one that picks Pukwudgie, even though he never actually met William.
Mm-hmm.
He's just so tickled by all of her stories about him.
Yeah.
So then later when he actually meets William at the end, after the aunt shows up, he's all excited to meet her. Like he's meeting a rock star or something.
I love that. I'm so glad I named one of our houses Pukwudgie, and he's like, what now?
Right? What? And like I just imagine William being like super uncomfortable and awkward.
Oh my
like,
God.
Like, doesn't this guy understand I don't like people? I don't know. I really like this husband. I do. There's just something that seems really good natured and I don't know, just like good. We don't get a lot of good in these stories.
Right.
Like
how sad
unabashedly
is that,
good.
honestly?
So yeah.
But
so
I don't disagree with you that he sounds like a good person, but mainly what it is the ways that she refers to him. Like there's always something really, mysterious sounding, and then about Issel, and then William. It's just like, or not William. What is her husband's name?
is it Paul? Maybe not. No, it doesn't sound right.
Chadwick and Webster are the boys' names. James.
Oh, how did we not? Come on.
Right?
How did we not make that connection to his name is fucking James? I'm
They're-
so disappointed in us.
Sorry guys. Should have mentioned.
Also, we didn't say it at the beginning, but the reason the aunt rescued her is because she murdered her parents and set their house on fire.
Right.
So
That
just in
is,
case
I totally forgot about that. Oh my God, she's so fucking awful.
yeah, she's so obsessed with keeping the family bloodline pure, which seems to be a really nasty trait of this Gaunt family.
Mm-hmm.
That she is so obsessed and concerned that her niece might get mixed up in Muggle business because because Issol's parents are really nice, they're both wizards, I think,
Mm-hmm.
but they live like in a Muggle community and they're friendly and they're helpful. And so she's so certain that she's going to get mixed up with a Muggle boy that she murders her parents and kidnaps her so that she can raise her right
Properly. Yeah.
So yeah,
God, lady, get a hold of yourself.
and then she is obsessed because she goes searching for her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, she
Mhm.
follows her, figures out exactly like where she probably is based on the rumors about the school,
Mhm.
and fucking dresses up as a boy the way that Isolt had, but calls herself by Isolt's father's name. That
Yeah,
she
that's
murdered,
fucking
which is,
really twisted.
that is a messed up thing to do, lady.
The only thing I didn't like about the story, and there's no reason for it, I just was like, oh, that's unnecessary, is that Isolde comes over on the Mayflower.
You know what? I had that same reaction. I am so glad you said that. Because same as you, I went, ugh. And then I went, why am I so annoyed about that?
I don't know what it is, but something about it. I was just like, oh, you didn't have to do that.
Oh, that is so funny.
That is so extra.
I am so glad you said something because I kind of forgot. I put it out of my head that I had that reaction. And then I was just immediately like, no, we're not doing that. I don't think so.
And yeah, I don't know exactly what it is, but there's just something about it that I didn't care for.
Right? It just feels like extra is the word. Yeah.
It's just extra. Yeah,
Yep.
You just chop that sentence out and we're fine. We're fine. So, okay. So
I forgot all about that. I love it.
It's so funny that you had the same reaction.
I know. I'm thinking that, like, why? Because there's a reason why we both had
There is.
that.
I
But
think
what
it has
is
something to do with, and it could just be our react. I have a tendency to roll my eyes when people trace their history to, oh, my people came over on the Mayflower.
Mm-hmm. That's fair.
Right? So maybe that is the reaction that I'm getting. That sort of, we've been here since the beginning, And I understand that she's trying to establish the long history of magic in the New World.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, there have been witches and wizards since the very first,
Yeah.
But come on.
Yeah.
Calm down. That's
Calm down. I love it.
So
yeah, I guess that is what it is. It just feels, because there's that whole like society in what is it? What are they called? Is it just called the Mayflower Society?
Yeah.
Is that it?
Because remember there was the Mayflower Madam? That might be before your time.
Yeah, I don't remember that.
There was a huge case in the early 80s that like it got a TV movie and everything. I think Candace Bergen played her. But it was like a society woman. And she had this huge escort service that she ran, and when she got busted, that's what they called her, the Mayflower Madam.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
She's kind of badass, honestly. Yeah, I think that when I was growing up, my mom, like, that organization, especially when you're up around Boston and whatnot.
I can't even imagine. It's such a status thing, too.
That's exactly what she was explaining to me because, kids don't understand that weird shit that we just decide is important. Mm-hmm. So she's like trying to be like, oh, it's a status symbol. Like it's, you can get scholarships and stuff based on whether your family is a member of this society. Mm-hmm. And she was like, technically we qualify, but I'm just not interested in that bullshit.
No kidding.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, okay. And then like
what about that scholarship,
completely forgot about it. I think that she felt like it was like wrong.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I think that it just seemed like not okay to take advantage of it somehow to her, which I kind of get.
Yeah, same.
So yeah, at the same time, we were broke, so that would have been cool. But no, I don't really blame you, Mom. It's fine. But anyway, yeah, that's so funny that you mentioned that because I just forgot all about it, and now I'm just like, yeah, that was really irritating. Okay, sorry guys, everybody who does not care about that is like, are we still on this?
So before she meets the kids and James, she has this encounter with the horned serpent, which I'm still not sure what it is.
I'm not understanding how, because it's mentioned that there's a piece of basilisk horn in Salazar's wand, and I'm like, basilisks have horns? I don't feel like that was mentioned. Am I wrong? I
don't remember. Or maybe, I think when I read it, it does say horn, but
yeah.
I don't know why. I just thought that maybe I don't know what the fuck I thought. Maybe I just thought she meant like just a piece of its, this is going to sound gross, but like just a piece of its hide or whatever, even though that's a completely different thing.
Yeah, that doesn't like, I feel like that would hurt it versus a piece of horn isn't going to feel like anything, so it can share that without pain. I figured a tooth or something, but basilisk venom is super poisonous, so that would be bad.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't remember. Maybe they do have little horns. Basilisks, I mean.
Everybody who's listening who knows what
they're
it is
so irritated with us right now.
I'm looking this up. Do basilisks have horns? Basilisk horn, Harry Potter wiki. The horn of a basilisk was a wand core used by Hogwarts founder, blah, blah, blah. It is, Newt Scamander did not mention basilisk horns in the basilisk entry in Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. It's unknown if he had no knowledge of it or if he chooses not to mention this detail in his short description. Horned serpents appear in Northwestern European mythology. Its best known image comes from Romano-Celtic Gaul deity Cernunnos, depicted as horned or antlered, and always paired with snakes, usually with ram horns, usually feeding from its hands. This image parallels Cernunnos as Slytherin, a deity of pure blood supremacy, and the horned snake as either his attendant or the basilisk that sourced his personalized wand core.
Wait, what?
That made a leap somewhere that I did not follow.
Yeah, I didn't follow that either. So is the horned serpent the same as a basilisk?
It's saying its best known image comes from Romano-Celtic Gaul deity Cernunnos, depicted as horned or antlered, and paired with snakes, usually with ram's horns, feeding from its hands. This image parallels Cernunnos as Slytherin, quote, a deity of pure blood supremacy. So they're saying that she based Slytherin on this other mythological deity, Cernunnos, I think is what they're trying to say. Cernunnos was a Celtic god of fertility, life, animals, wealth, and the underworld. The name itself is only attested once in the 1st century Pillar of the Boatman, but he appears all over Gaul, depicted with the antlers of a stag, sometimes carries a purse filled with coin, often seated cross-legged and associated with animals, and holding or wearing torques. Weird. Well,
yeah, that went off into a whole other thing.
That's a whole rabbit hole I'm not prepared for today, so let us back out of that slowly. Yeah, so I'm feeling like she just threw out there that basilisks have horns and hadn't even put that in Fantastic Beasts. And so for me, that is not canon, and I do not buy it, and I will not accept it. So hopefully everybody else is on board with that.
Yeah, okay. I got all turned around. All right.
I'm sorry, what happened?
To focus.
I'm sorry. I felt like I said something that turned you around.
No. I was just listening to the entry, and then it went off of like Harry Potter stuff into other stuff.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, I was scrolling through the story, trying to find out where exactly she said about the basilisk's horn. And I can't find it. And then you were done, and then I was like, "Oh shit, I'm all turned around."
My bad.
Because she says that the Slytherin wand has what did she say when he finally beat her? It has as its core. Oh, fuck! I just had it. I'm sorry, guys. We're all rambling and not like got our shit together.
Well, it's hard because like this isn't even something that you can like highlight or anything. It's all on the page. Okay, so here we go. Gormlaith's Revenge. She travels there. Her first sight of the building sent a powerful curse containing Isolde and James's names toward the house, which forced them into an enchanted slumber. Next, she uttered a single sibilant word in Parseltongue, the language of snakes. The wand that had served Isolde so faithfully for many years quivered once on the bedstand behind her as she slept and became inactive. In all the years that she had lived with it, Isolde had never known that she held in her hand the wand of Salazar Slytherin, one of the founders of Hogwarts, and that it contained a fragment of a magical snake's horn, in this case, a basilisk.
Oh, okay.
The wand had been taught by its creator to sleep when so instructed, and this secret had been handed down through the centuries to each member of Slytherin's family who possessed it. That is something that feels a little too convenient.
Okay.
Because we've never seen that before. It's never been mentioned that that's a possible thing.
Right.
All right. I'm open to learning new things about how this world works. Mm-hmm. But there are points where it feels like you just started pulling stuff out of anywhere.
Right. So it's like that's a spell making the wand, putting the wand to sleep that only exists for this one particular wand.
Exactly.
I mean, I guess that could be a thing, but
that's maybe it's never been done before, and just this one dude is that paranoid about somebody taking his wand that he would be the one to figure out how to do that.
Yeah, and I guess that makes sense. And if he's obsessed with, I don't know if Slytherin was obsessed with being pure blood, but it sounds like every one of his descendants were. It would be the kind of thing that you would only pass down through family.
Right.
Right. So that no one else would really know it was a thing. So I guess that's possible. But the thing is we've met other descendants. Well, yeah, we have. I don't know. Would the Gaunt from the Harry Potter books, would he know about that? See, that's a whole other thing too, because one of the things that this aunt is obsessed about is keeping the bloodline going. Mm-hmm. And she thinks that Isolde's children are the last chance.
Right.
Now, the short story does mention that Isolde has no idea that there's other family still left in England.
True.
But why doesn't the aunt know that? Like, I understand Isolde doesn't because she bounced.
Maybe the aunt does know, but just doesn't choose to acknowledge them because they're like blood traders or something.
I don't. Well, we know. What's this? What was his name? Marvolo.
Marvolo. Gone.
Marvolo.
Yeah.
We know he wasn't. He was just.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe.
And this short story does say specifically that she was worried that her bloodline. She was so desperate to keep the bloodline going after Isolde left that she was going to take Isolde's girls, even though their father was a Muggle. Right?
Where did Marvolo come from? Because that isn't this far back. What year is this supposed to be? 1640 is when the Mayflower comes over?
1620 is when the Mayflower comes over.
1620, okay.
1640 is... 1634 is the last date we get before the aunt shows up to wreak her revenge. So this is... Yeah, and that right underneath where it says... oh, that's why I got confused, because the wand dies after... Okay, but anyway, after she shows up, it says that... blah, 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 that these are the last of her bloodline. She was going to... Once right before she reaches the house and does her spell to put them to sleep, it says she was going to slaughter the parents who had thwarted her ambition of a great pureblood family, steal her great nieces who were the last to carry the sacred bloodline, and return with them to Hag's Glen. Mm-hmm. So she totally thinks this is it for the family. But we know it's not, because we meet them in Harry Potter.
That's true.
I mean, it's not a big deal. I'm just curious. I mean, whatever. You don't always know about your whole family. But still, I feel like a family like this that's so obsessed with their bloodline and who they're descended from, they're going to have that big family tree like Sirius Black's family had in their house.
Yeah, right, exactly. Huh. That's an interesting point. Let's see. What is her name again? It's such a weird name.
Gormlaith.
Gormlaith. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
I think there are no Gaunts left. I'm looking this up and seeing if there's because there's tons of like Q&A stuff on Harry Potter. So, yeah, it just has like the summary of this.
Mm.
Gormlaith became estranged from Rhiannoch, who is her sister.
Mm-hmm. That's Isolde's mom.
Yeah. Rhiannoch was helpful, blah, 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 blah. Gormlaith started a fire at Rhiannoch's house, which killed her and her husband, William Sayre. Kept Isolde for 12 years, blah, blah, blah. Found Isolde, set a spell, yada, yada.
Is there a Gaunt family tree?
It doesn't show one here.
Or maybe I don't know, would it be a Slytherin family tree or a Gaunt family tree? I don't know.
Yeah, it doesn't it doesn't have anything about like the rest of her family or any of that. So that is weird. That feels like a huge plot hole.
It does. I'm sure there's an explanation. We just can't find it. Because it's pretty big.
Yeah.
If anybody, I guess, out there knows, you want to swing on over to the group.
I'm going to look up the Gaunt family tree.
Also, we want to keep the show moving a little bit.
Yeah, that's true. Sorry. Sorry, guys. I'm just like, I want to answer this, and I feel like... Okay, so here we go. Salazar Slytherin. I have a family tree here on Harry Potter Wikia. Marvolo. Yeah. Okay. It just skips right over this part. Mm-hmm. The family tree goes straight from Salazar. It just has a dotted line that says many generations. And then it goes to Corvinus Gaunt and then Marvolo Gaunt.
How about that? Oh well, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, that's a little bit sloppy. Many generations. Is that allowed? Like, can I do that? Because I will do that if that's allowed.
Well,
Because I want to figure out all this shit.
A precedent has been set, so feel free in your book to just go ahead and dot that shit.
Because there's a guy in the 1700s, there was a proposal to install an elaborate plumbing system at Hogwarts Castle. This threatened the secrecy around the entrance to the Chamber of Secrets, so the Chamber of Secrets, which at the time still had its original appearance, a concealed trapdoor and series of magical tunnels, and which was located on the site where a girl's bathroom would be set up. Corvinus Gaunt was, at the time, a student at Hogwarts, and as a descendant of Salazar Slytherin himself, knew where the entrance to the chamber was and how to open it. Corvinus was responsible for secretly protecting the entrance, having concealed it behind plumbing fixtures in a sink so that those who knew could still access the chamber. So this guy is before Marvolo, he's 1700s on the thing, but there is no mention of who he's related to.
Well, ...
Many generations. That's going to be my new, shorthand for saying that they just, fan wanked something. I don't know. ... Many generations, that kind of thing. I'm totally going to be doing that from now on, so I hope everybody's prepared for it. Sorry, guys. I got that, but that is a pretty obvious... I didn't pick up on it because I was too fascinated with the school part of this. But, yeah, if you're the writer, that should be something that you notice, right? Hey, she purposely picked the name Gaunt because we see it later. So why would you pick a name that... I'm just bothered by that. That just bothers me. Oh, I'm sorry, everybody.
All right, so back to this thing here. So, the thing with the snake though. So she has this this sort of kinship with this horned serpent, and she can understand it, but she doesn't understand why, and she can't speak Parseltongue. She can just understand it. Mm-hmm. And I still am not, like I said before, I'm not 100% sure what this horned snake is.
The horned serpent, that's just what it's called.
We know that Puckwidgey is not a fan.
No.
William is not a fan, so I guess it is maybe... I didn't feel like it was dangerous. I guess it could be.
I mean, it's a snake with horns. That sounds dangerous.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, but William's no slouch.
You don't have to be a slouch to be afraid of something.
That's true. That's true. He knew enough to give it a wide berth, to the point where she actually starts keeping it secret that she's going to spend time with it. And then we don't hear much about it. And then later, when because she talks about raising the boys and teaching them what she can about magic and telling them all the stories about Hogwarts, and the older boy becomes really focused on being able to go to school and getting a wand. And there's no Ollivander here. And she starts to worry about how is she going to, get a wand for him. She doesn't want to break hers because it's the only one she has, and she doesn't want to risk ruining it.
Yeah.
And then she has a dream that involves the horned serpent. And she just goes there in the middle of the night, and it's like, hey, I knew you were coming.
I know. How crazy is that? Is that legitimacy? I don't know. But I really kind of like the fact that, like you said, she can't speak to it, so she just is getting messages, which feels real frustrating.
Yeah. And also at one point she starts to think, maybe this shit's just in my head.
Right,
maybe
exactly.
It's not talking to me.
Maybe I'm just losing my damn mind. Because, William can't talk to it. He thinks it's dangerous, but he doesn't know, how to speak with it. So, yeah. So, I'm just the horn thing, I'm just distracted by it. Anyway.
Between the horn and the many generations.
Right. Damn it. I gotta analyze things. This is my job, is analyzing them, but then it ruins things. So let's speed this up here.
Yeah. So
they make a school. It's successful. People come to it.
Yeah, and it's so successful that word gets out back home, and that is how the aunt is able to track them down. She hears rumors about a school, and she thinks that something might be, it might be sort of connected to her niece, but she doesn't go crazy. Then when she hears the name of the school, that seals the deal, because the school is named after the home that she grew up in before her aunt came and murdered and, set fire to shit.
Ruined her shit.
And that's what sets her on her little quest across the ocean to come and ruin everything. And there's a really nice little battle between the aunt and the two boys.
Yeah.
And they do all right for a minute. They hold their own.
I kind of love the way that JK describes this thing too, because she says that, Isolde tried to keep all of the scary information about creepy ass Gormlaith from her adopted sons, but she says, like all children, Chadwick had heard and understood more than his adoptive parents had ever imagined. They might have thought they had shielded him from any knowledge of the murderous Gormlaith, but they were wrong. As a small boy, Chadwick had overheard Isolde discussing her reasons for escaping Ireland, and little though she and James realized it, Chadwick's dreams had been haunted by the figure of an old witch creeping through the trees towards Ilvermorny. Now he saw his nightmare made true.
Yeah. So now we have the introduction of maybe a little bit of being able to see the future, kind of, So there's something,
right? Yeah, that's well, all right. I'm trying to not slow this shit down, so my bad. So yeah, big fight. They have their wands that have twin cores, these two guys. So when they use it together, it's stronger.
They I love that detail too, that when they're working together, it's like 10 times stronger. But also, as the school once she makes the first wand for the oldest boy, Chadwick, then it's a thing that they can do. They can make wands for people. But Isolde only uses the horned serpent for the boys. She doesn't ever use it again to make anybody else's wand. Which I thought was like, okay, I see what you're doing here.
Right.
So that their wands are a little bit more special somehow.
Yeah, that feels a little bit shady.
But wouldn't you do that for your sons? I would do it for my kids.
I don't know that I would do that.
If I were the type to have, I would do that shit.
You know what? I'm too capitalist. I'd be like, oh, you can have it for a price. Because I have to go face off with the dreaded horned serpent to get the materials. I'm risking my life here, so I'll make it for you. Far be it from me to keep you from getting the wand that you love and deserve. But there's a premium attached, and I'm just trying to cover my risks when it's not personal. Oh, you can't afford. Well, I guess it's just going to be my sons with it then.
Right. I guess I'll just give you this one with tree bark in the middle.
That is so cold. I don't know. There's a dandelion in there or something. Oh, brother. So then her death is crazy. The old witch had indulged in all manner of dark magic in an attempt to make herself invincible, and these curses now reacted with the Pukwudgie's venom, causing her to become as solid and brittle as coal before shattering into 1,000 pieces.
Yeah. That so they are fighting. First of all, the only reason that Isolde and James are awake is because the girls start crying, and that is able to pierce the spell. Because when one of the boys tried to wake them up, nothing happened. Like, I think it was Webster that goes and tries to wake them up, and he can't. So then they're all out. They're all fighting, except for James, bless his heart. And, yeah, she just turns to stone and crumbles.
Yeah.
Because there's so much evil magic in her, so much dark magic, which I feel like we've seen that before. And then it's over.
This is kind of not quite a plot hole, but it is sort of a like, well, finally she managed to blast open the doors to their bedroom where James stood ready to die in front of the crib of his daughters. Sure that all was lost, Isel cried out, hardly knowing what she said, for her murdered father. You would not yell William. You would not yell your father's name.
You would say dad.
Yeah.
Or father or whatever.
So, yeah.
But, yeah.
You know, that stopped me a little bit. And I was like, I mean, okay. And she doesn't tell William that she was calling out for a different William because she's trying to be tactful. And
apparently William has just been waiting for 10 years to hear his name called because he fucking pounces right into action. And then he's a little bit shitty about it. Like, oh, it took you 10 years. And then when you called me, you needed something.
Yep.
But he comes right away.
You take it back. Take it back. You go sit in the corner right now.
He shows up. Look at he split.
I hate you.
Sorry, guys. I'm
Lickety
sorry.
Split. Shut up.
And so he comes, he saves the day, and
he comes to save the day.
And the story wraps up very nicely. They live to be 100. The school grows. Not all the Puckwidgies, but a lot of Puckwidgies come and they live on the grounds of security and maintenance.
Yeah, and he gets a pretty penny for doing that work.
Yeah,
I like that.
I like that detail too.
He really is a good negotiator. I think that's part of why I was like thinking goblins with him.
Yeah, I can see that too. And yeah, so it wraps up nicely, and there's a little tidbit towards the end where they don't want the wand, they don't want the Slytherin wand to be out in the world. They want it to be done with. So they bury it, and a wonderful magical tree grows.
I forgot all about this.
Mm-hmm.
And like they try and prune it and stuff, and they can't do it.
Yeah, they can't get rid of it. It's just going to be there. But it offers all kinds of powerful potions. So it's like, what does it say? The Slytherin's wand, like his scattered descendants, encompass both noble and ignoble.
Ignoble is such a weird word.
Yeah, you don't see it very often these days.
Because it doesn't feel like a real word.
Probably should be using it a lot more given the current climate, but maybe it'll make a recurrence. Did you say hot takes?
Yep.
And so then it tells us a little bit about the descendants of the family, which was nice. You know, we didn't need it, but it was nice. It's always good to get a little wrap up like that. Mm-hmm. The boys are fine. The girls are fine. The one is a squib, but she's fine.
Yeah, and she's like has a hard time growing up in Ilvermorny, so she like winds up marrying a muggle and everything.
Yeah, and just
getting away from that.
Yeah, which of course I would too, and it's a nice departure from what we got of squibs in the Harry Potter books.
Right. Yeah.
Which
true.
Were all sort of presented as very sort of sad cases that you know were kind of to be pitied and hidden away, or you end up like Filch, you know. So it's nice to think that she just was able to go and have a nice life. And yeah, it's sort of sad, but she moved on. Right. As far as we can tell. And I think that's it. It just tells us more about the school. And, you know, tells us a little bit about the traits of the houses.
Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah. But I enjoyed it. It was a nice, solid foundation for going into this world.
Agreed. And I kind of like the fact that, you know, even though I keep saying the U.S., that it's not based in the U.S., that it's up in Canada. Because it makes it...
I thought it says Massachusetts.
Wait, is it? I thought it was Gray... Hold on.
Well, the name of the place is Greylock. But when I think it's when the aunt is hearing about the school when she makes her decision to go.
Oh, yeah, you're right. It is. Why did I think Canada? I've been saying that.
I don't know.
I feel like I said that at the beginning of the episode that it was Canada.
I don't think so.
Is there a wizarding school in Canada? Where did I get that?
I don't know. I don't even remember you saying Canada at the beginning of the episode. Maybe in a previous one, but I don't think so.
Oh, it says Canadian witches and wizards have the option to attend Ilvermorny school. And it says that she has teased the reveal because she says that there are 11 large magical schools around the world. And 7 have been named so far. Hogwarts, Beauxbaton, Durmstrang, Ilvermorny, Castelabruxo, which is in Brazil, Mahutukoro, which is in Japan, and Ouagadougou, which is in Africa. I don't know how. If I'm.
I didn't even know there was that many schools named.
I didn't either. She says that the African one is in Uganda. Yeah, that's it. Well, I had been planning to do a listen of a supercut, but as it is a long-ass supercut, and we have already gone pretty long, I'm going to wrap this guy up.
Okay.
She's about to be all
You
nervous.
also sent me a quiz, so, don't ever do that again.
How'd that go?
It did not go well. I was breezing through it, and I thought I was doing okay, and I got my results, and I did not do okay.
Oh, no.
I got 9 out of 23.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Damn.
39%. It was not good.
It didn't... Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, and it didn't show me, what I got right and what I got wrong. Or if it did, I didn't click the appropriate link. So I have no idea where I messed up other than, everywhere.
There is a school quiz for Ilvermorny. Have you taken that by any chance?
I haven't.
Okay, I'm going to be in. You should take that, and then we'll talk about that next week, which house you're in, because I am in Wampus.
Oh, I'm sorry. You mean like a sorting quiz?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did take that. I took that a little while ago. I'm a horned serpent.
Everybody that I've talked to is a fucking horned serpent. I've met, one Thunderbird, and I have yet to meet anybody else who is in Wampus. Not one fucking person. Maybe
the test is. I think I took it right when they put it out. I guess when the movie came out, maybe.
Yeah,
or maybe that's just when it made the rounds. But yeah, I'm horned serpent.
Nobody's in my fucking house, man.
You're a Wampus. What is your? Let's see. What are the traits of the 4 houses?
It's supposed to be for warriors and the heart.
Let's see. That's right, because this one is the body. It's the mind, the heart, the soul, and what now?
The butt.
All right, let's see. Where is it? I think Thunderbird is adventurous, which I was really adventurous? That's nothing bad about it.
No.
That's not I don't know. It's a different take on a character trait. You think of, courage versus adventurous. You know what it is? Adventurous doesn't have a negative or positive, really, connotation. Courageous is positive.
Right.
You know what I mean? Adventurous is sort of neutral.
It's sort of spontaneous. That's up to you whether that's a good thing or not. For me, no. Not a fan.
Are all of these houses like that, sort of neutral, as opposed to Hogwarts?
I don't know.
I'm trying to fucking find it real quick, which is not anything. Nothing quick is happening. Blah, 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 blah. 4 houses. All right.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah, sorry. Okay, so...
I'm vamping. Look at me. I'm vamping for you and me.
All right, so the Thunderbird can create storms as it flies. Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, the Thunderbird sounds cool. It's just not really much of a part of the story. So
magical panther-like creature that's fast, strong, and impossible to kill. Oh no, this isn't telling me about the fucking traits that help you get sorted.
Mm-hmm.
Does she not cover that in this? I thought for sure she did.
The traits that help you get sorted? I thought that was what we were talking about.
No, but I'm looking in the story for where she describes each house, and what I just found was more like describing why the kids picked them, but not...
Oh, I don't know.
I mean...
Listen.
No.
I'm going to say hi to new patrons.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry. Do that.
So, new patrons this week. We have Jessica Goddard, Lucifer, and Illy, which I feel like I've read these. Or no, I'm thinking about it from Dresden Files. That's why they sound familiar. And I love it that we have Illy, who is, we're talking about Ilvermorny, and it sounds very similar. So what's up, Illy? Welcome to all of you guys. Thank you very, very much for becoming patrons. Please join us on the Patrons Only Facebook group. If you don't know how to find it, hit me up and let me know, and I will give you the link. And also register on unspoiledpodcast.com to get access to the legacy episodes that are patrons only. And if you are not a patron and you'd like to become one, you can go to patreon.com/unspoiled. Pledge whatever you think is fair, and you'll get access to all kinds of different stuff. And coming up, I'm going to be sending out, for patrons $10 and above, I will be sending out Prongs postcards. So I'm pretty excited about that. I stupidly had them sent to the wrong address because I had used my Zazzle account to send Ann Thomas, who designed the Prongs, what would one call it? It's not exactly an illustration. The Prongs logo? The Prongs image? But graphic. There we go. The Prongs graphic. She won a t-shirt for doing that. And so I had that sent to her, and I had her address saved, bought the postcards and some stamps, and they got sent to her. My bad. She messaged me today and she's like, did you mean to send me a pack of like 50 postcards and stamps? And I was like, no. Oh, shit. Thank you, Anne, for forwarding those on to me. But patrons $10 and up, you will be seeing those in your mailboxes fairly soon. Hopefully, by the time I get them. I don't know. The book for this month's book club, which will be held on May 6th, a Saturday at 7 p.m. Central Time, is not, in fact, Girl with All the Gifts, like I said last week. I was told that it was by a co-host, and I should have checked because it's my job, but I took him at his word. It was not correct. So the book is Kite Runner, not Girl with All the Gifts. So, my apologies if anybody out there, which is unlikely, bought Girl with All the Gifts thinking that was next. But you can hold on to it. That book is literally not until August. Like, they weren't even close. But Kite Runner is going to be coming up. I do not yet have a co-host for that one. And I have not started it, but it just arrived in the mail yesterday, so I'm going to be getting started on it over the weekend because it's a longer one. So that's why I'm trying to give people a heads up if they want to read it for the first time, because they're going to need a little bit more time than they have needed for Ready Player One, and definitely more time than they needed for Winter's Bone, which was real short. I think that is all I wanted to mention. Oh, and shop at Hot Wheels and Glue Guns on Etsy because she's great, and we have a partnership, and she should get business because she works hard. She does all kinds of stationery stuff, not just Harry Potter themed things. But those were what was popular recently for Valentine's Day. But she does note cards and journals and stationery type stuff, and it's really cute. And her designs are just very clean and modern and well done. So Hot Wheels and Glue Guns. What were you going to say, madam?
I was the four houses.
Okay.
The Horned Serpents are Scholars, the Wampus Warriors, the Puckwudgies Healers, and Thunderbird Adventurers.
Okay.
Yeah, and they are all very neutral.
Okay.
Hmm.
You seem real irritated by this.
Not irritated, just I'm curious if that was a conscious choice on her part, like trying to veer away from, houses that are good or bad, because that's something that kept coming up, that Slytherins aren't bad, even though practically everyone we ever met was terrible.
That's true.
So But anyway, I just thought it was interesting. But other than that, I've got nothing to add.
All right. Well, thank you everybody so much for listening. I'm really excited to be doing the Supercut next week. But this will be good because it gives Austin a little bit more time, because I know that he has been feeling like he's not sure he can keep up.
Yeah, he can keep up.
Hitting these a little faster. So yeah, give you a little bit of extra wiggle room. And we are up to 255 reviews. There's a fly that just like flew directly into my fucking face and just missed my mouth. This is a personal insult, and I will not stand for it. Oh my God, that fucking freaked me out. Oh God, how
On
dare
that
you?
note.
Number one, how dare you?
How dare you exist?
Anyway, 255 reviews, which is awesome. Thank you guys so much for leaving reviews. It's just so appreciated, and it really makes a big difference. So keep doing that. And I think that's about it. So we will see you next week with something else. Who knows what it'll be? It's all a big surprise. I don't really know what it is. I'm going to try and pretend like I have it all planned out. That's not true. I come up with the day of.
Yeah, I find out like 30 minutes before we're starting.
Mm-hmm. Read this now. Okay. But yeah, if you guys have something like recappy that you'd be interested in us talking about, definitely let me know about it. Yeah. So, I'm open. That's what I'm saying. All right.
And we still haven't like actually recapped, so.
That's true. I figure we're going to reread.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. Like, since we're going to reread, we don't really need to do like a traditional recap.
Yeah.
So I'm fine with it.
All right, cool. Well, toodaloo, motherfuckers.
Bye, guys.
That was an Unspoiled Network podcast.